just last month. A series where we look at some events that happened last month and decide if they're still relevant and why.
Or at least make our points to see.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, we're the decision makers. This is not
decision makers.
This is relevant. This is not relevant anymore.
Okay. So what were you thinking?
So the first bit of news from just last month, was the White House blocked news organizations for press briefings. This is around the 22nd of February or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't seen this in my life. Like, that restriction of access, I haven't seen this in America in a short lifetime so far, but I haven't seen it so far. It was just, and
well, this is the first time that a TV personality / troll has made it to the White House. So I looked at it like, because you can curate your persona on television, that's exactly what he's doing in the White House. Trump is curating what press were allowed actually into the briefings, and they could spin it the way he wanted to spin it, you know? So instead of it being this is my opinion, this is my take on what's happening, like, I'm going to tell you all the facts, like, you know, for press getting all of that out, it's the press that he chose to let in. He's only giving out certain facts, or he's only giving out certain things, so he's kind of not giving you the whole story. And that one-sided story that he's giving you is very curated to his specific persona.
I think it was really shocking last month, personally. Is it as big still? I think less so, because of how many other things have come out since then.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like something so big after something so big. Even though it's still ridiculous, it's just, alright, there's so many other ridiculous things since then that were pretty,
I don't know,
maybe not quite as shocking, but shocking nonetheless.
I think it's still relevant because it sets a precedent of what he's capable of doing and how little the American people will know of it. And I think all of the ridiculous things that he's doing, and, you know, the bills that he's trying to submit, I think the fact that he's already banned press once and, you know, kind of hid information, I don't think that's going away. I think he'll do it again and again, and it'll be for bigger things, bigger, like, relevant either bills or issues overseas or, you know, here in the US. I think that's going to happen again and again.
The other one that we had was February 2017 being the warmest on record.
Ooh. That is definitely a bad thing, because we live in New York State.
How did you grow up in New York State with the temperatures?
I grew up upstate New York, and I remember mounds and mounds of snow in the winter, and I remember a couple winters where it got so cold that it was in the negatives, like below zero, and there was a frostbite warning for like a week, and we didn't have school because if you were outside long enough, like uncovered, like your face or something, you could get frostbite. Not, 70 degrees here, not, 30 degrees here. It was cold all the time, and it was always snowing, and we always had to shovel. And I think that while it's nice to occasionally have a 70-degree weather,
breaks from the cold, breaks from the blistering winter.
I just think that this summer is going to be pushing 100 all the time now.
I think it's interesting to get the breaks from the winter. I've never had a February quite like this before.
Yeah.
And global warming, man, it's a thing. If the weekend were fall and the weekends were summer, I think a lot of people would say, okay, I could definitely get on board with that 100%.
What a perfect week. Or maybe fall 3 days a week, Monday through Thursday, 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were summer.
Friday, you started from the Friday. So
Yeah.
instead of 5-2, you're going 4-3.
Yeah.
Wow. Just
Just-
getting in the zone early.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's nice.
So, month away from February, is it quite as big of a deal right now?
It
that February
should be a big deal, and I think that, we should be taking measures to regulate the environment because, global warming's not going away. It's only going to get worse. And while, that occasional 70-degree day is nice, it's not going to be nice in
You're thinking in the long game.
10, 20, 30, 50, 100 years when we've ruined the earth. Because we didn't regulate carbon or
Greenhouse gases.
greenhouse gases, yeah.
So I agree that it's a big deal. The weather being like that, like, hey, this is the first time we've had exactly half the month not be what we've had before. It's just, okay, this is indicative of something happening. What will be interesting to see is next year if we get something similar to that. It's like, okay, or like even worse, it's instead of 14 days, it's 16 or 18 days that aren't quite as, not, sorry, above freezing. That's how you do it.
Above freezing?
Above freezing. Because
Yeah,
it said
well,
only
freezing's
14 or 18
32
days.
degrees, so that's above freezing 40, 45. Even that makes a difference. 10
True.
degrees is a huge difference,
And also, too, like, all the animals out do the hibernation, and they'll depend on it, so if you're getting a day that starts off with spring, you'll have, that feels like spring, you'll have animals come out of hibernation, and then say, oh no, we're not done. And I think you're watching some shows on the History Channel, like the stuff in Alaska, where they had, like, either early summer or the weather dipped or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you'll have bears come out of hibernation super early. I think it's gonna mess with a lot of things. Says the first, we're trying to make this something we'll kind of do every month. We'll pick 2 stories of the last month, and some things that are impactful in one way or the other. And we hope you enjoyed some of the conversations we had here. And if you have any feedback, please reach out to us, let us know. And thanks for watching.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Ah! What kind of snips was that? How was that?
That was good.
Yeah.
It was a little rigid, but it's the first one. It's okay.
It's a little rigid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
pizza coming.
that was gonna mess up the sound.